Mexican cartel massacre leaves 9 Americans dead. That is the topic of today's op-ed live. So it came out on Fox News. Mexican cartel massacre. 9 Americans, including 6 children from Mormon offshoot, murdered. This is why Trump wants to build a wall. Okay, at least 6 children and 3 women living in a faith-based community of U.S. citizens in Mexico were shot to death Monday in the northern part of the country, and 6 more children were wounded after their convoy came under fire during a brazen daylight ambush believed to have been carried out by gunmen affiliated with the cartels. So the cartels were fighting each other and they were caught in the middle, and you can see all of them behind me. It's just tragic. And there was also another report that said at least, 8 months twins, not at least, 8 months twins to 43-year-old mother has also died. It's just, it's really tragic what happened. These things gotta stop. That's why Trump wanted to build a wall, because of the Mexican cartels. He doesn't want all these criminals coming over to the States. And I wish the Democrats can wake up to this kind of facts and try to do something about it. The Democrats never comes up with an idea of how to block these cartels or illegal immigrants, dangerous illegal immigrants, coming from the Mexican border. Right? So that's why people voted for Trump. They're saying, oh, people voted him because he's racist, sexist. I have never seen anybody, a Trump supporter, telling me that, hey, they really love Trump because of his racist attitude. Nobody has told me that. It's just a bunch of fabricated nonsense from the mainstream media. That's why they're fake news. You know, Trump wants to keep America safe. It's clear and simple. That's why he wants the wall. So Alfonso Durazo, Mexico's top security official, confirmed the 6 deaths, adding that 6 more children were wounded in the attack, with 5 transferred to hospitals in Phoenix, Arizona. And he indicated that 1 child is missing, although relatives later appeared to indicate that the girl, who had been grazed in the arm by a bullet and had gone for help only to get lost in the dark, was eventually found. Okay? The victims were all reportedly dual Mexican and U.S. citizens and were traveling back to the United States when they were ambushed. It's just tragic. You know, these things shouldn't have happened. That's why, you know, when Trump said, you know, Kate Steinle, right? The blonde lady, the 32-year-old lady who got killed in front of her dad by an illegal immigrant. By the way, he was kicked out of the country 5 times, came back the 6th time, came back to San Francisco because it was a sanctuary city, and then killed the lady. You know. So that's why Trump was against sanctuary cities, and that's why the Republicans wanted Kate's law to go through Congress, but it failed. It's just, these things really, it's really tragic, and it brings people down. You know, it brings people's spirit down, and just my condolences to them. By the way, Fox News also reported that ABC News' Amy Robach, she was caught on hot mic saying ABC News spiked Jeffrey Epstein bombshell. You know, ABC News anchor Amy Robach was caught on a hot mic claiming higher-ups, upper people, killed that story. You know, that would have exposed the now deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein 3 years ago. But the Disney-owned news organization says it wasn't up to their standards. Can you believe this? How many more victims came out of this whole thing? Because ABC, the knuckleheads up there, decided to kill the story. You know? This is what Robach said. I've had the story for 3 years. We would not put it on the air. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. She means Clinton flying with Epstein to Epstein Island. Probably, I already told you that. He flew there 27 times. It was Project Veritas. Remember that name, Project Veritas. Project Veritas. They are doing a righteous thing for the nation. They are true journalists, you know, exposing fake news, exposing media bias, all these kind of reports that other media Probably they know about it, but refuse to report about. Project Veritas, whose controversial founder, James O'Keefe, describes himself as a guerrilla journalist, published the footage that included Robach saying ABC refused to air an interview she conducted with one of Epstein's victims. You can check it out on Twitter. So this is what she said. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset that an important interview I had conducted with Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts. We already talked about Virginia Roberts before, right? Virginia Roberts, she claimed that she was 17 when she had sex with Jeffrey Epstein, by the way. Virginia Roberts didn't air. I had conducted with Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. This is what Robach said in a statement provided to Fox News. She said she was pissed that now the Epstein story has completely gone everywhere, right? All around the world this year. Of course, as a journalist, you would be angry about it because she had this scoop 3 years ago, but the ABC bosses decided to kill that story. Of course, as a journalist, you would be, you would kick yourself for that. I mean, I don't blame her. I blame her bosses. But think about all the heinous things that Epstein continued to do because ABC decided to kill the story. I already told you, I think the mainstream media, they're all in cahoots with these pedophiles, I think. If you think about it, when they claim that Pizzagate is all just a conspiracy theory, really? If you read the WikiLeaks, you can't come to that conclusion. Why do they keep on covering up for these pedophiles? Like Epstein, Epstein was charged. That's why they had to cover it, right? Why don't they cover about the Epstein Island? They don't want to cover about that. Instead of that, they would allocate 90% of their time talking about the Russia collusion hoax, the impeachment hoax, the ridiculous Ukrainian scandal hoax. That's why we call these papers and networks fake news, because they would not cover news with value like this. The hot mic outburst was published by Project Veritas, which said that the tape was leaked by an ABC News insider. So she was she was complaining about it with probably one of her coworkers, and she was caught in a hot mic. And somebody, insider in the ABC News, I applaud him. He gave this video clip to Project Veritas, And this is what she said. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015. Okay? I was referencing her allegations, not what ABC News had verified through our reporting. The interview itself, while I was disappointed didn't meet our standards. She's trying to cover it up for her bosses, I guess. And we all know what happened to Epstein. Epstein was found dead this past August in his Manhattan prison cell while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. I believe he was killed. I don't think he was. I do not think he committed suicide. You can't have the video being broken at that time and 2 prison guards happened to fall asleep at the same time, right? How can we believe that it was a suicide? And there was only one suicide case in the past 40 years. Okay? Too many coincidences. Okay? And then the mainstream media claims that, that's conspiracy theory. Really? The Russia collusion hoax was a conspiracy theory. And what's going on right now, the Ukrainian scandal, impeachment hoax, is also a conspiracy theory. Okay? History would not be kind to the media, okay? So it's just these kind of things. That's why I'm doing this show, Op-Ed Live, because I need to expose all these media nonsense, okay? And by the way, Florida County rejects New York Times subscriptions. They say it's fake news, and they agree with Trump. A Florida county caused controversy last month by deciding that local libraries wouldn't provide access to the New York Times because county commissioners agree with President Trump that the paper is fake news. Okay. Commissioners in Citrus County reportedly agreed they wouldn't spend nearly $3,000 a year on digital subscriptions to the Times, the paper the president regularly mocks. Fox News reported this, by the way. They're breaking a lot of news, actually. Actually, you know, among all the major networks and cable news out there, I would say, you know, watch Fox. Fox has been breaking news on a daily basis, especially regarding the FISA thing, about FBI and CIA, all these intelligence agencies spying on Trump. It's Trump campaign. They did a marvelous job for the country. You know, Sarah Carter, John Solomon, he's working for The Hill. You got to check out those journalists. They are brave journalists that have been breaking stories after stories about how the Obama administration have been involved in spying on the Trump campaign. Okay, if you watch CNN and New York Times, you would never get these kind of news. Okay. And then The Hill reported that Trump's battleground ratings sound warning for the Democrats. Okay. Actually, the New York Times and Siena College, they had a survey and they tested the three leading Democratic 2020 candidates. You know, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren against Trump in the 6 states that Trump carried by the narrowest margins in 2016. The states were Arizona, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. It showed Warren defeating Trump only in Arizona, and Bernie Sanders doing so in 3 of the states, and Biden doing so in 4. All of the Democrats lost to Trump in North Carolina. I think North Carolina turned red. Okay. Even in Biden's case, the results were hardly conclusive. His edge was 5 points in Arizona and smaller everywhere else. 3 points in both Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and just 2 points in Florida. I believe Trump is winning all the way, all these 6 states, because I don't believe these poll numbers, especially it's by the mainstream media, the New York Times. I don't believe their poll. I don't believe the Washington Post, ABC poll. I do not. I do not believe the Reuters poll. I even don't believe the Fox News poll. The poll I believe is the Rasmussen poll, and the Investor Business Daily poll, and also the LA Times Daily Tracking poll. Okay, the LA Times and Rasmussen, those 2 polls are daily tracking. I believe those were more correct indicator for the past 2016 election cycle. So check Rasmussen. Rasmussen has been a very reliable poll. Other than that, I think these are all oppressive polls, trying to discourage Trump supporters to go out there to vote for Trump. Okay, that's what I think. Okay, let's check out some news headlines and Twitter feeds. George Papadopoulos is running for Congress in California district vacated by Katie Hill. In the 25th district, there are around 400,000 registered voters there. I believe Papadopoulos has a chance to win. He's running as a Republican, and we all know what happened with Katie Hill, about the sex scandal, her having a sexual relationship with one of her staff member, a female staff member. So they were in a lesbian relationship. Katie Hill, by the way, is openly bisexual, so that violated the ethics regulations, so that's why she's kicked out of, she resigned her seat. Let's move on to the next page. Trump tweeted this: "My son, Donald Trump Jr. is coming out with a new book, Triggered: How the Left Thrives on Hate and Wants to Silence Us. Available tomorrow, November 5th. A great new book that I highly recommend for all to read. Go order it today." Let's move on to the next page. All-time high for stock market, and all the fake news wants to talk about is the impeachment hoax. Let's move on to the next page. There is no whistleblower. There is someone with an agenda against Donald Trump. What he was blowing the whistle on didn't happen. We have the transcript of the call. This is all a farce, and no Republican should forget that. Dan Bongino tweeted this. Okay, let's move on. Boom, Charlie Kirk tweeted this. Boom, House Republicans are considering moving Jim Jordan to the House Intelligence Committee tasked with impeachment. That's great news. This is the Democrats' worst nightmare. Retweet if you want to see Jim Jordan take down Adam Schiff's fake whistleblower. Let's move on. Breaking, the GOP will call Adam Schiff as a witness in his own impeachment hoax. That's also another great news. He had contact with a whistleblower before the complaint that launched the entire process. What did they discuss? America needs the truth. This is what fighting back looks like. Retweet. Let's move on. What Barack Obama should have been impeached for, right? The Fast and Furious scandal, the Benghazi scandal, IRS targeting, Solyndra, you know, the solar panel company, they got bankrupt, right? I think Obama gave $1.5 billion or something like that. The FISA abuse, the spying on the Trump campaign, the Obama administration spying on the Trump campaign, I might say. Yet he survived 8 years and 2 terms. If Trump did any of that, he would have been impeached, I would think. And you've been telling me Democrats want to impeach Donald Trump based on a meaningless phone call? Let's move on to the next page. So sad to see what is happening in New York, where Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio are letting out 900 criminals, some hardened and bad, onto the sidewalks of our rapidly declining, because of them, city. The radical left Dems are killing our cities. NYPD commissioner is resigning. Let's move on. This is a time for Mexico, with the help of the United States, to wage war on the drug cartels and wipe them off the face of the earth. We merely await a call from your great new president. Let's move on. A wonderful family and friends from Utah, he's talking about what happened yesterday in Mexico, the 9 Americans being dead. A wonderful family and friends from Utah got caught between 2 vicious drug cartels who were shooting at each other, with the result being many great American people killed, including young children. I already told you 8 months old twins also died, including young children and some missing. If Mexico needs or requests help in cleaning out these, let's move on, monsters, the United States stands ready, willing and able to get involved and do the job quickly and effectively. The great new president of Mexico has made this a big issue, but the cartels have become so large and powerful that you sometimes need an army to defeat an army. He's thinking about probably using some U.S. Army to get rid of them, right? Let's move on. The impeachment hoax has fired up voters in Kentucky, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Let's move on. Trump tweeted this. I hope everyone in the great state of Virginia, there's an election tonight, by the way, today, actually going on right now. I hope everyone in the great state of Virginia will get out and vote on Tuesday in all of the local and state elections to send a signal to D.C. that you want lower taxes, a strong military, border, and Second Amendment, great health care, and must take care of our vets. Vote Republican. Let's move on. Virginia has the best unemployment and economic numbers in the history of the state. If the Democrats get in, those numbers will go rapidly in the other direction. On Tuesday, vote Republican. Let's move on. Sarah Carter tweeted this. That's a journalist that I was talking about. She used to be the reporter for Circa News, and now she's a Fox News contributor, and now she has her own podcast. Rand Paul said this at yesterday's rally, last night's rally in Kentucky. That was Trump's rally, by the way. If shifty Adam Schiff will not let Hunter Biden come, and if he will not bring the whistleblower forward, every Republican in Congress should take a walk and say, this is a farce. And he got a thunderous response from the crowd there. Do you see all the T-shirts they're wearing right there, over there? They're saying that the impeachment, the whole thing, is just a hoax, okay? Read the transcript. That's what the T-shirt says over there. Read the transcript. If you read the transcript, you cannot come to the conclusion that Trump and what the Ukrainian president did was a quid pro quo. No, it's not. Okay, let's move on. Carter Page, I interviewed him a couple months ago, by the way. He was spied upon, right, by the FBI. Carter Page tweeted this. To understand the Justice OIG FISA abuse reports delays, this quote from Sidney Powell's License to Lie book sums things up well, citing a Fifth Circuit decision. Sidney Powell, by the way, I think she is the lawyer for former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. This is what she said. This case is all about a group who knew that the law was coming and did what they could to hinder the law. Let's move on. James O'Keefe, he's the one who broke this news, right, from Project Veritas. Breaking ABC News anchor Arabach, I think that means Amy Robach, right? I think that's how her name is pronounced. She was caught on hot mic in August, disgustedly exposing network's decision to strategically spike bombshell investigation into Jeffrey Epstein over 3 years ago. Says what she had was unbelievable. Okay, and you can see that picture there. Let's move on. Breitbart News, Project Veritas. Anchor Amy Robach says ABC News killed Jeffrey Epstein's story. Okay, let's move on. Jordan Sazar, I think he tweets a lot about QAnon, right? He has a video talking about it a lot. Anyway, he tweeted this. To me, the most impactful part about Veritas' release on ABC Today is not the fact that she had the story 3 years ago and was stifled, but she's on video saying a lot of powerful men went to Epstein's island and he made his life blackmailing people. That will make many think. Okay, let's move on. Charlie Kirk, February of 2016. Members of the board of Burisma reached out to the State Department for a meeting to ask for an end to any investigation into their corruption. Okay, can you believe that? Members of the board of Burisma, they went to the State Department for a meeting and asked them to stop the investigation into their corruption. This is quid pro quo, okay? March of 2016, after 1 year, Joe Biden threatens to withhold U.S. aid to Ukraine if they do not drop their investigation into Burisma. And what happened? The Ukrainian president fired the prosecutor, right? The AG, the attorney general there. That's what's called quid pro quo. They tried to withhold $1 billion. Okay, let's move on. Lisa Mae Crowley tweeted this. ABC covering for the royals because they were threatened, because that's what Amy Robach from ABC News said, you know, that the royals pressured them to not release this news. Okay, ABC covering for the royals because they were threatened with what? Blackmail? How many young children were victimized by these monsters when ABC could have reported on this 3 years ago? One can only imagine what Princess Di knew all those years ago. Probably Princess Di knew about all this thing. Is it true? I don't know. Let's move on. Mark Levin tweeted this. History will note the unfree media's role in the greatest scandals in American politics, all aimed at the ouster of a duly elected president. Let's move on. Tom Fitton. Judicial Watch document. Obama State Department colluded with Russian embassy and House Democrat leader to target Trump. Pelosi, Schiff coup. There's no basis for impeachment. DOJ finds new Peter Strzok docs it said it didn't have. Big update. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is what Paul Joseph Watson tweeted. Build the damn wall. Okay. They're all dead, and it is tragic. It is, and our prayers go to them and the family members who are suffering. Okay, well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right. It's about right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.